How about my dearest YouTube friends? Today we are in a new video, and in this case we are going to criticize a little this version number 3 of the Gauntlet of the Brave. Let's take out what are the positive points, what are the negative points of this new version, and I'm also going to give you my personal criticism of how I feel playing this Gauntlet of the Brave. You can already see that I haven't finished it yet. It's 56%. So that's a negative sign. For my part, the criticism that I am going to make, because the truth is it seems to me to be a rather tedious mission. Are we going to analyze it little by little? Let's remember that they have made a quite striking change to the truth, and that in the previous versions we asked what it was like to include 3 characters per team, as you are already seeing on screen, in which it makes our lives a little easier and not have to be losing so much time. Go between fight and fight so you can select the character and such. So you already select the 2 at the beginning, which is what you want to take most, and then you directly go for the boss. In this case, the dynamics have changed a little. As I said, you will be able to take 1 for the boss and 2 for the path itself. Okay, then we are going to make a small preliminary clue so that you are seeing it, in which you are already seeing how in this case in the first chapter they were asking us, well, cosmic, soft, to make our own little path. But here we are also seeing the second change, quite important, and that is that we are going to have to face the same boss several times in this way. Climbing, I don't know if it's the nodes or its own or life itself, okay? I think they are what life is escalating. In this case, I have to tell you that it is quite tedious for me to have to face the same boss in the same one. I end up, so to speak, with the same notes and so on. I prefer 1000 times that you give me the final boss with more life and more damage and all that before giving it to me 3 times in a row. Because guys, when I saw this, when I saw the Principle of the Brave, I say, fuck, perfect. The number of fights has decreased, and that is really just what we asked for in the previous or before Brave, that it was basically done in. Are these missions durable? Do we already know that, as many people have also criticized and said, since it is a mission that has to be done in a month, that you do not have to do it all at once, but nevertheless I tell you that I like to do the quick mission, okay? And above all, to bring them in a future streaming that I haven't been able to lately. Seeing this, I said, oysters, how well they have greatly reduced the fights. In this case, they have decided to do only 1 path per fight, and with how many fights? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Wasser, and 11 for road number 1. But then, as you advance in this language among the brave, you see how that number of paths double and become much heavier. For example, the change comes in this chapter number 4, where the boss of Anilus is, where he's from this Intervalant account, as you are already seeing that the path forks. Okay, we have 2 paths with different characters, and again we have to face the same boss 3 times with the same nodes, and that life and damage are escalating. To me, this already seems too much. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. That is, having so many fights in the same mission, and on top of that, shared fights. If, for example, you remove these 3 fights and leave directly from here, it would help a lot in the development of the fight. Because how many fights are there along the way? Well, look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, and 3, that is 13 that you fight along the way, which seems to me to be enough for 2. That is, it gets quite slow, so to speak, and that's it. We are also escalating the number of fights as we get closer to the new characters that are High Evolvers and Maker's Own. Okay, as you can see in the High Evolver, there are more fights. At the moment I haven't done it. Okay, I'm telling you, I'm making my review based on what I've been exploring and seeing. Look, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, and 14. So 1 more fight per way, okay? And again, we face the 3 bosses 3 times the same as this. The truth is that for someone who is not so experienced, it may be quite annoying to have to face a new character Let us remember that with each new character they include new animations, new fighting style, new form of fighting, and then that can cost the fight a lot, because let's remember that the nodes are selected, well, 3, and if one falls you are going to have to resurrect them. Yes or yes for the next 3 fights, because it will not serve you to be able to give the next one. Then in this case there may be a lot more margin for error. That is, you will have forgiveness, you will have more errors. In this case he was fighting 3 characters who are the bosses, who are the new ones this month, but at the same time also seeing it from the other side. It seems good to me because we only have the opportunity to face these characters in these monthly supervisions, whether Hold On to the Brave, Hold On to the Paragon, or the monthly supervisions themselves of breaking us down. We will only be able to face him because in 6 times 6 ways. In this case, what may be helping us is the people who are, well, in higher contents, as is my case of wars, alliances, parties, alliances. So let's not be afraid if for whatever reason they put a high evolver in a war node because he has achieved it right in the package that has come out, or he has been farmed with the 6 stars in the arena, what do I know? So that is the only positive point, so to speak, that I see in having 3 fights with the same boss. Even so, I already tell you that it is a bit heavy for me to have to face the boss 3 times in a row, and I already tell you, as I said at the beginning, that I would change this fight and this fight, for example, of the high evolver. And directly here, well, the buffet of another style, that is, if you don't want them to be the same as Lev and Quest of Drone Petronors, well, what do I know? Make it a buffet and add more damage and more life to make it a little more complicated. But here, for example, take this fight away from me and take this fight away from me, because many people may be annoyed by having to face new characters and themselves. And then spend resources, yes or yes. The truth is that in what we have been carrying, I will have spent a summon Anilus, because Anilus is also a somewhat complicated character, and if you don't give him the indicated counter, you may be having a pretty bad time. Then what other negative points? Well, also the duration, what I was telling you, I thought for me the ideal is what we had in chapter number 1 and chapter number 2. Okay, there are about X fights, okay, I think there were 11, we haven't seen it before. Well, for me the ideal point is to find that. That's 13 fights. Look here how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 11. Okay, well, I don't know how to find a middle ground. 13 slightly more complicated fights with more life, with more attack, and we directly do it all in one. It seems to me that introducing 3 characters with what I have said is perfect as a positive point, because the time as such is reduced to the issue of choosing the characters, because it is true that the issue of having a center was a little lazy. We fight, then we have the selection node, then we have to remove it again, and we have to put the new character in. So in that sense, the truth is that they have made a good change. I honestly like them. They still need to polish a little more. These Brave Gloves started quite well with version 1.0. Let us remember that they were all the fights that broke us all the time. But they had to change something. That's why version 2 came, which was the one we had the past 2 months in the... which touched, well, some little things such as fewer struggles or easier doing things, but in this version number 3 they have changed radically. Instead of having new selections, we have 3 fights before a selection, which can be quite good for us, and we have those boss fights. That's what I would change, and above all, it seems perfect to me that they do 2 paths again. It's okay that they do 2 paths, but with a little less fighting. Maybe if it's, as I said, 14 fights, well, 7 and 7 don't do 14 and 14. And will you say why, if they really have to put that? No, because there are times when Kabank goes too far into adding new content to the games. In this case, this July 2025, we are very loaded, but very loaded. Of things to do then, for any player who is occasional, Brave or Paragon, it can be quite difficult to make this Gauntlet the Brave, especially also due to the laziness of having to make 2 paths instead of 1, just like with the Maker, with even more fights. So I would honestly reduce, as I say again, a 4 version, or in the future there seem to be fewer struggles along each path. Give me 2 paths if you want so much in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, but give me 7 fights for each side in this way, because it becomes much more dynamic. And as I was telling you, there are months that puts a lot of content on Kavan's part. In this case, we have the area in workshop, we have the raids, we have the Summoner Fest, we have Batinos, we have Alliance War, we have the Alliance that in this case are rights. So it may be I who know the player who is more occasional, maybe weighing down the issue of so much content and so much time, okay? So to me, the truth is that it seems like a change, neither good nor bad. I honestly prefer to finish the video in version 2, okay? But I think the changes they have implemented of 3 fights per node selection are perfect, so to speak. What I don't like is that they put those bosses, 3 bosses, 4 bosses, 5 bosses in the same fight. You just put 1 or at most 2 so you can know how to kill her and so on. And the truth is that at the moment, Kavan is evolving with this issue of such a brave glove, because many people also believe that this such a brave glove is going to be the definitive one and not friends. Let's remember that Kavan is making changes. Is he thinking about what is the best way to put this glove on such a brave one? Surely in the future they will ask us, I know, a survey or something like that to vote. Which one do we like the most then? I don't know if Kavan is going to make more versions. Honestly, I would stay with version 2. Okay, it seems a little simpler to me.
Start less lazy when it comes to seeing 2 paths or something like that. And if in the future in 1/4 version I would reduce the number of fights to, for example, the hardest in Zonebreaker itself is worth, Zonebreaker bosses would take the much more of the hardest showers that can be put in that zone break and with harder defenders. And that would be it, friends. Above all, I want you to let me know in the comments what you think about this Gaunlet the Brave version number 3, because I am interested in many knowing what you think. I already tell you that for me, I have my problems with this version number 3. I liked it because of the changes they have implemented, but I didn't like it because of the duration either. It is true that it lasts a little less, but they become lazier.